not gotten that message. So we're in the 4th week of a series that I've called The Journey. And we said that as the journey begins, it first begins, or typically, sometimes it'll be a life event that will throw you there. And that'll come quite suddenly. That doesn't mean instant enlightenment, though. I mean, there are some people that think you can become instantaneously enlightened. I just don't believe that exists, folks. Like everything else, this type recovery over here, you got to practice, practice, practice. You got to work at it. But there's a sense of dissatisfaction and need for more. You're looking for something else, a sense of there's got to be more to life than this. The things that I've previously thought mattered. You start to assess your map, where you are. You sort of look back at where you've been, what it took to get there, how many detours did you take to get there, and then you need to say, okay, what do I want out of my life? What would I add as the goal here for my life? Would it be peace of heart and mind? Would it be to have $1 billion? What is my goal? And then as you look at your map, look at how many detours you've made. And it'll kind of help you in your mind if you're really looking for peace of heart and mind, but then you make decisions that take you totally away from that. If you will remember that map, it will help you to identify that sooner. We talked about going at the pace of guidance. What does that mean? Speed is someone running through the airport with a cell phone to his ear, and pace is someone quietly going along with their grandchild. Quiet, stillness. Go with the pace of guidance. Go with the pace of being able to hear God or the divine. If the divine speaks to you, you need to be able to hear it. And if you're running from one thing to the next, you're not going to hear. You're not going to hear. You're just going to look for what is next. And this week, look beneath the surface for truth. I couldn't imagine any better songs being chosen, and I didn't even have to say that the perfect songs were chosen for today. I can see clearly now. And the pre-service music, beautiful, by the way. Thank you. Let go of the shore. What does that mean? I'm going to let go of all those things that I previously thought before would bring me peace, would bring me what I wanted in life. A couple of years ago, I had written something. I'd been down to the water on my walk, and as I was down there, and hasn't this week been beautiful? The weather, oh my goodness, just like heaven, the weather here, so peaceful. So as I'd been walking by the water that one morning, the words kept coming to me, and this is incredibly helpful as we're establishing what our goal is. My desire for God, good, love, wisdom, health, wholeness is greater than my desire for what? Fill in the blank. Fill in the blank. The next thrill. My next fix, whatever that happens to be, whatever it is you're addicted to. My desire for God, good, love, wisdom, health, wholeness is greater than my desire for fame, material gain, fortune, revenge, reluctance to forgive. I let go of the past because my desire for God is greater than all of those. So we're going to talk a little bit today about how to get beneath the surface. And when that desire comes, I guarantee you, you'll find a way. You will find a way, because that desire for God will override anything else that you've ever had in your life. Elizabeth Gilbert in the book Big Magic said, "The universe buries strange jewels deeply within us all, and then stands back to see if we can find them." So we're not going to find those jewels out there somewhere. We're going to find them within ourselves. What does that mean? Of course, the universe, like a treasure chest, hides unique and precious gems within each of us, waiting to be discovered. It challenges us to dig deeper, to dig more deeply within ourselves, tap into our inner strengths, our talents, our potential, and uncover those hidden jewels. And going beneath the surface, of course, is a metaphor. We know that. It means to, what we're speaking of is looking beyond for clarity of what life really means, seeing what the distractions have been, seeing them for what they are instead of what we thought they were. I remember walking Shelby when she was just, I think it was before Andy was born, so she was maybe between 18 months and 2 years old. And I had her in a stroller, and I was pushing her around the beautiful neighborhood where they lived in Houston at that time. And I had a leaf book, and I was identifying all the trees in the neighborhood, and I thought I was really doing a great thing, you know. And so she was a person of few words. She always has been. She hasn't changed in that way. And at that time, it was even more so. And she finally pointed at my little book, and she said, "Book pocket, Grandma." And what she meant was, let's go for this magnificent walk, no distractions. Even that I thought was something kind of cool to do was a distraction for her. And so I did, and I recognized right then, that is a distraction, isn't it? I need to be here right now, right here, with no other distractions, but being with her. She's always been wise like that, sharing those words of wisdom, and I thank her for it. She still gives me a lot of words of wisdom. I thank her for that too. So looking beneath the surface, the opposite of the phrase, of course, means what? Take things at face value. I think most of us were probably taught to do that when we were young, weren't we? Just take things at face value. And then we learn. And for many of us, we learned when we were young that we had a pretty strong intuition. And we recognized that we could be with people, and their mouths were saying one thing, but they were giving us a totally different message. If we would, we could sort of read them. And it's like, you know what, you're saying one thing, but I'm getting a different vibe here. There's something different. Not everyone has really sensitive intuition. You can increase that sensitivity, though. You can make it stronger as you go. Now, how do you do that? We start to tune in to our intuition by using the spiritual tools that we're given. And it's one of the gifts that we have here at Unity of Gulfport is that we're trying to, or what we're doing every week, we're doing everything we can to share with you those spiritual tools that have worked for us. These tools help keeping your thoughts positive, looking beyond appearances to the truth of what is beneath that, the truth, instead of only on the surface thinking. So just like physical tools, though, they don't work if you don't use them, do they? They just plain won't work unless you utilize them. They may as well be standing in the shed with the other tools, the rakes and the shovels and all those other things. We must use them. We must practice, practice, practice. So this week, what I really want to talk about is going a bit deeper. And I have talked about this before, but I'm going to remind you. This week, it's really important. Get a sip of water first. There was a man that was speaking. He said, "I saw a dear friend a few days ago. I stopped by to ask how she was doing, how her family was. She looked up. She said, 'Busy, busy, busy. Have so much going on.' He said almost immediately after that, he ran into someone else, asked how he was. Same response. 'I'm just so busy. I have so much going on. I don't have time to enjoy life.' He said that the tone of the person was so exhausted, tired, even overwhelmed. And this person went on to comment that it's not just adults. When he and his family moved to North Carolina a few years ago, they were thrilled to be moving into a city with a great school system. They found a really diverse neighborhood filled with families. He said everything just felt good. It felt right. After they settled in, they went to one of their friendly neighbors who had some people over, and they were asking if their daughter, the daughter of the other family, and their daughter could play sometimes. Well, the answer was the mother and the daughter there both pulled out their calendars. They didn't have an empty slot until 2 weeks from next Thursday. That was the child, too. This was a man that had written an article about David Kane. He wrote an article about going deeper instead of wider. And he gave some really, really great advice in this article, and it touched me then, and it touches me now. I had gotten it out again to reread, to see, and I think that Frank reminded us of that when he gave his talk here a few weeks ago. He reminded us of that. Not to stay so busy with a schedule that is so full that we don't have time to live. We don't have time for our families. We don't have time to settle. So the other mother said, "Oh, she's just so busy. Gymnastics, piano, voice lessons. Sorry, we can't work you in." These horribly destructive habits begin early, They're learned. So how did we end up living like this? How in the world did we end up being in this place? So David Kane went on to say, I keep imagining a tradition I'd like to invent. After you're established in your career, you have some neat stuff in your house. You take a whole year, which you don't start anything new, acquire any new possessions you don't need. No new hobbies, equipment, games, or books are allowed during this year. Instead, you must find the value in what you have already begun, purchased, found, and dig in a little deeper. Don't buy a clarinet until you learn to play the horn that you already have. We all do that, don't we? You know why? The reason is that we've become so accustomed to this fast-paced and the phones and the instant everything, instant gratification. Here's the biggest tip. We get a thrill from purchasing something new. You know that, right? That's why there's so much compulsive buying. It used to be that shopping network on television. I don't remember the name, don't care. I didn't ever participate in it. That wasn't for me. But there were people that sat all day long and bought off that shopping network and found themselves not able to pay their bills at the end of the month now. They were so addicted to that. Can you imagine? Or now with and I'm going to try not to say too many names, just get on and buy it from, the superstore out there in the stars or the wherever that can deliver it to you, maybe even today. Oh, you might say, I'm going to get on the internet right now and I'm going to buy that. Then you're going to set it aside beside the other thing that you haven't completed yet. There's a thrill in buying. So when you see that, that's an underneath type thing when you see that. On the surface, that looks fun, doesn't it? Oh, I'm just buying some neat stuff that I like. I like doing that. That's fun. Oh, and these big box stores, they're the worst. We can spend 10 times more money than we need buying huge quantities of things we'll never use. Dan and I used to go to them, then I let our membership go away. I didn't keep it any longer. Shelby and her brother and her mom and dad were at our house, I don't know, maybe 3 years ago or so, and we were eating lunch, and I had brought out some ketchup in case someone needed some. Andy says, it was about 15 at the time, he says, Grandma, that ketchup looks dark. You sure that's okay? I said, well, I'm sure it is. I don't know. We don't use it often. Surely it is. So I pull it out, or he turns it around. He said, this expired 2 years ago. I said, oh, no, and I've got another giant bottle just like it in the cabinet, right? That's what buying at the bulk, the big box stores will do for you. You don't need it. We don't need it. There's just the thrill of buying. So I thank Andy for that. I'm giving credit to all this wisdom that my grandchildren have given me, and it's taken me a few years, but I'm getting it. I'm finally getting it. Those are the beneath the surface type things, okay? So many things that we impulsively do that it's not being guided by God. It's not that invisible hand. So what we can say is, going back to that little piece that I read this morning, my desire for buying stuff on impulse. Looking back at our map, okay, if you want to stay on target, your map I was talking about if you want to find God. And these little tributaries you can go down that are going to take you away from it, don't go down those. Your addictions, you can make it through those addictions, you know, if you can say, it's not going to be easy. Just like Dan's knee, this hasn't been easy. He's got a lot of pain. He's got a lot of pain this morning, but he's pushing through it. We knew it wouldn't be easy, but it's going to be good on the other side. My desire for a true connection with God is greater than my addiction. And sometimes that addiction is not what you thought. You may have an addiction to buying for the thrill of it. For whatever that thrill is, may not be what you thought. My desire for God is greater than my need for attention. That's another under the surface thing that we didn't know about till we start paying attention to it. My need to be a crowd pleaser is greater than my desire for spiritual growth. Each of those things I mentioned this morning, they're a choice. They are a choice. And you can choose differently. Anytime you want, you can choose differently. You can choose to go deeper. You can drill down. You can find God. Here's what you can do, and I want you to hold this in your mind this week if you would, and then I'm finished. You can drill 500 holes a foot deep, okay? With different things you think will be neat. And then you're going to put it on that unused pile of stuff too. Instead, you could drill down 500 feet and you just might find gold. I hope you'll remember that, and I hope that someone out there, I just love to hear that on Sunday, someone out there, whether here or watching online, needed to hear that this morning. If you did, and you pay attention to it and practice, then you're on your way